With only half an hour to go in the last practice session before the Monte Grand Prix, drivers are trying very hard to achieve their best lap time, which will decide their starting positions for the race on Sunday. The most noteworthy thing about the practice time so far is the fact that the Chirano has come up to every expectation. Reserve driver is Ricky Chirano, son of the manufacturer. Their number 1 driver, Lorenzo, made 3rd fastest time. Number 2 driver, Tony Gardner, has also put in some very good time. At the moment, the 156 Chirano is being driven by young Ricky, and the old car is following close behind, driven by number 1 driver, Lorenzo. No doubt they wish to compare the performance and handling of the 2 cars. As they come round for another lap, it looks as if Tony Gardner has passed Lorenzo and put himself behind young Ricky.
Let's get a picture, Ricky. Let's get a picture.
Thought you had to have a gold-plated record before you got that kind of attention.
Haven't you heard? Ricky Chirano's the glamour boy of the racing circuit.
Kind of an odd way to publicize a racing car, isn't it?
Not so odd when you stop and think about it. Most racing drivers are working professionals, not many colorful characters around. Ricky's good copy. He's young, attractive, wealthy, son of a famous designer, and the girls dig him. What more could you ask?
Sounds like more of a playboy than a race driver.
Hello, Mr. Straight, Mr. McFarlane. I clipped the corner as close as I could. I hope you've got some good pictures.
Ricky, Florenza's had an accident.
Pietro? What happened?
He went into a skid, and he couldn't pull out of it.
Was he hurt?
He was dead by the time they got him out of the car.
Pietro? Killed? I must telephone my father. He's still in Rome. He could not come until the day before the race.
Oh, wait a minute. Maggie can make the call for you. Tell him it's the Chirano Works just outside of Rome. I think there's a telephone in the pit shed.
Pietro has driven every car my father designed. He wanted to watch the handling of the 156. That's why I was driving.
Do you only drive in practice runs, Ricky?
Tony Gardner and I qualify in practice as relief drivers. But I've never been in a big race.
Have you qualified for the Montaigne Sunday?
If you've done a minimum of 5 laps around the track, you're qualified. I've done 17.
Then it's up to your father to make the decision as to whether it's you or Tony Sunday, huh?
It'll be Tony Gardner.
I thought they were grooming you as the coming champion.
That's only what the papers say, but it's not true. It's all arranged by my father. All this business with the fan club, photographs of me in the 156, driving the car in practice. It's only for publicity. My father has never let me enter in a race yet.
Maybe this is it, Ricky.
Hi, Mike. Check the carburation while she's hot. She's missing. Get some good shots of the kid. He was going well.
Tony, Florenza's had an accident.
Florenza? I saw the smoke. Was he hurt bad?
He died before they could get him out. That's his car back there.
I'm sorry. Well, he always said he wanted to go in a blaze of glory. I guess he got what he wanted.
Kind of the hard way to go, don't you think?
You can't win them all, Mike. Most of the guys in this racket are self-destructionists. Press your luck too hard, you're bound to get it in the end. He should have quit last year.
He was right behind you. It looked as though you didn't see the driver in front give his pit signal.
Hey, wait a minute. I saw the signal. Just came too late, that's all. I knew someone was pushing me. I didn't know it was Florenza. Listen, Mike, you've been following this game long enough to know the odds. He was a good friend of mine. He was getting old. His reactions were too slow, that's all. It happens to all of us.
Tony?
In here, Kim.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I saw the accident.
Have you seen him before?
For a moment, I thought it was your car.
You ought to know my driving better than that.
That's just it, I do. That wasn't you driving.
What do you mean?
Something's wrong, Tony.
Nothing's wrong.
Something is wrong, and you're not telling me. You were nearly on top of that car in front when you cut out. What happened?
Well, it happens to every driver. It's like being hypnotized for a few seconds, but you always pull out.
This time you almost didn't.
Now, look, relax, honey. I'm kind of tired. Girano will want me to drive the new 156 now. I'll have to get a couple of circuits to get used to it.
Do you have to?
That's what we've been waiting for. Now, I can't miss with this crate. There'll be the share of the prize money, the testimonials, a lot of dough in it. And we can take off, have ourselves a long vacation, maybe quit racing.
If you're alive to enjoy it.
I will be. Now, you stop worrying. I gotta get some rest.
What about Ricky? Suppose his father decides that he should take over.
Not a chance. Ricky's just a kid. The old man had never put him in the Montaigne Grand Prix. This is the first time the 156 has been seen in a Grand Prix. The car's a prototype for the new stock models. Girano can't afford a bad press.
Maybe not. But think of the publicity if Ricky won. It might be worth taking the chance on.
Now, it's too risky. I know the old man pretty good. He likes Ricky to practice so he gets the publicity, but he's scared of putting him into a big race. He doesn't think he's ready for it yet.
I think you're both wrong about Ricky. Besides, he's a nice boy. He doesn't like this publicity any more than you do.
Well, we'll see. Well, by the way, Mike Strait is giving Ricky the full treatment tomorrow. He's going to take some action shots of him driving around the practice circuit in the 156. He's going in my car.
Sure he hasn't changed his mind after today?
Why should he? Look, I told you this can happen to anyone. It just wasn't my day.
Let's hope tomorrow is.
Any mail?
Nothing important. New York cable, though. They want to know if Girano is giving you exclusive coverage on his car, or whether the pictures will be pooled.
Well, you can tell them that the story on his son and the pictures I plan to take tomorrow are exclusive. But the coverage on the race Sunday is wide open. Anything else?
Yes. I wish you'd change your mind about riding with Tony Gardner tomorrow.
Why? Because of the accident?
Mm-hmm. Couldn't one of the other drivers take you round?
It's just a practice workout to take pictures. Ricky will be driving the 156. Gardner will pace him. We'll be covering the same circuit that they're going to race on Sunday.
Yes, but suppose the same thing happens as happened today.
Well, that's not likely. There won't be any other cars on the circuit. Oh, by the way, the track officials just made a statement. Florenza's death is due to an unavoidable accident. No inquiry. Well, if you're finished up here, let's have some dinner, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mr. Tirano.
Oh, forgive me, I was in a hurry.
Miss McFarland, my personal assistant. Mr. Tirano, Ricky's father.
How do you do?
It was you I was talking to on the telephone.
Yes, I put the call through for your son. Would you excuse me, please?
Terribly sorry about the accident.
Yes, it was a great shock. Pietro Florenza was not only my driver, he was my friend. His death will make things very hard for 156, yes?
Look out, sir.
Oh.
Thank you.
What do you think of your car's chances now?
Oh, I have great faith. Nothing like it has ever been entered in a Grand Prix before.
There's been a lot of talk, Mr. Tirano. Technical publications are very interested. In fact, that's why I'm here.
Any assistance you require, you have but to ask. I'm at your disposal.
One thing I would like to know, who will be your driver on Sunday now?
Well, it's a very difficult decision. I have not yet made up my mind. Maybe Tony Gardner.
I thought it might be Ricky.
I'm very much tempted, Mr. Strait. Ricky has qualified, but has he the experience?
He's done very well in practice workouts. Track officials tell me he's had the 4th fastest lap. That puts him on the front row of the grid.
Ah, yes, but Tony Gardner was half a second faster consistently. And he's been a works driver for my company for the past 2 years.
Isn't it about time to see what Ricky can do?
If it were not such an important race, I would not hesitate for a moment, Mr. Strait. But in a Grand Prix, I don't know. I have to give it another thought. You're photographing my son tomorrow on a practice run. When you finished your assignment, I will have made my decision. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Strait.
Hi, Tony.
Oh, hi, Mike. Well, you know, my wife, Kim, Maggie McFarland.
Hi, Maggie.
Buy you a drink?
No, thanks.
Tony doesn't drink when he's driving. We were just leaving.
See you in the morning, Mike. Be early. We've got to get these action shots in before they start the official practice. About 10 o'clock?
Fine. See you in the pits. Good night.
Good night. Hey, Tony's forgotten his change. I guess he didn't see it.
Oh, well, I can give it to him in the morning.
I thought you said he wasn't drinking.
Well, he probably wasn't. Most drivers don't.
Yes, but not to see his change.
Maggie, you keep this up, you'll have him wearing dark glasses and carrying a tin cup.
Can I get your drink, sir?
I believe we'll have our drink at the table, please. Nothing wrong with Gardner. Those track officials give a pretty tough physical.
Hello, Mr. Strait. Remember me?
I'll never forget.
Oh, I don't think you've met my friend. And in that case, I think we'll leave it at that.
Oh, just as you say, Shorty. Sit down. Set anything on the drivers yet?
Well, it's difficult when you don't know who's driving. Horse racing, it's easier. You see, you handicap the ponies.
Gardner just left.
Yes, I saw him. I prefer the boy.
Ricky Tirano?
He has the feel. He should make a great driver if he lives long enough.
What are the odds on that?
2 to 1. A new driver's first year with the Grand Prix, that's the toughest. After that, he's learned. He's okay then till he reaches Tony Gardner's age. He's 39. You know, after that, a driver's reactions are not as fast.
What about Fangio? He won a world's championship when he was 45. And Farina picked up a lot of cups after 40.
Yes, you seem to know your drivers. You should have been a bookie. But listen, you can't beat the house. Gardner, he's pushing his luck.
Well, let's hope he doesn't push it too far. Now, what are the odds that Maggie and I get to eat in the next 10 minutes?
Well, it so happens that the patron of this establishment owes me 10,000 francs. You are my guests.
Well, that's very kind of you, Shorty. Shall we go?
Well, shall we?
Now remember, Ricky, the pictures Mr. Strait takes will appear in all the papers. Do a standing start and accelerate very hard to the first corner. Let Tony Gardner get well ahead of you. Then put the car into a four-wheel drift on the Padel corner. But Ricky, be very careful. Nothing must happen to the 156 before the big race.
I've been driving such cars for many years, though you seem to forget it.
Ricky!
Here comes Mr. Strait.
Ah, Mr. Strait, tell you, quite a nice day for a little workout, eh?
Fine, Mr. Tirano. It's nice and clear. We should get some good shots.
Good. What is the plan?
Well, Mike would like to take it easy for the first lap and then open her up in the second time round.
Very good. Now, Ricky will accelerate from a standing start. You keep 20 lengths ahead.
So we stay in close when we're cornering, Ricky. Head-on shots aren't very interesting.
You understand, Ricky. Keep your speed down. Only open her up sufficiently to produce a drift in the corner.
2 laps to it? Yeah, I think so. If we have to go around again, I'll let you know. Okay, Ricky?
Right.
Let's go. All set? Make it a good one, Ricky.
You all right? In one piece, all right. It's all right.
I heard about the accident.
Bush Telegraph, huh?
Your friend Shorty James telephoned me first thing.
Maggie, you may be right about Tony Gardner. I think there's something wrong with his eyes.
Really? How did you find out?
I had a good look at his goggles. He wears prescription lenses.
Well, do you suppose the officials know?
Of course. A lot of drivers wear corrective glasses.
I never heard of such a thing.
Well, it's not unusual. But I don't think that's his real problem.
Why? What is?
I think his depth perception is off.
His depth perception?
Yeah. Maggie, remember that story we did on Navy flyers, how they test their muscular coordination?
Oh, yes, I remember. They have little black cards on the end of string, and they have to line them up opposite each other.
Right. And if their depth perception is off, they're liable to overshoot the runway on landings.
Mike, do you mean that Tony Gardner can't judge the distance between cars?
Something like that.
Sounds frightening.
It is. Particularly if he doesn't recognize it himself.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Chirano telephoned. He wants to know if we'll go to a press reception at the hotel this afternoon.
Probably wants to announce the driver for his car on Sunday.
But it couldn't be Tony Gardner.
It's probable. But after what happened today, Chirano's liable to have some doubts about his son.
But why? It wasn't Ricky's fault.
Maybe not. But if what Ricky told me about his father is true, Chirano's not going to take that gamble.
I don't understand.
Maggie, I'm afraid Mr. Chirano suffers from an overdose of pride.
Yes, but what's that got to do with Ricky's driving?
It's the Latin mentality. You see, if Ricky doesn't give a good showing, or if he should have an accident or something like that, well, it would reflect on his father.
Sounds pretty dense to me.
Psychologists have a different name for it. Basic antagonism between father and son. Sort of an unconscious rivalry.
Whatever they call it, I hope he's got over it by Sunday.
Relax, Maggie. They haven't decided on a driver yet. Let's see what Chirano has to say at his press conference.
Now, because of the revolutionary fuel injection system and the fact that the Chirano 156 chassis is made entirely out of titanium, I think it is a very good chance of equaling or even bettering the all-time lap record on this circuit. Now, I know you're waiting for me to tell you who is going to drive the 156. As you will understand, Pietro Florenza's death has come as a great shock to me. He had worked with me for many years on the design of the new car, and it was my hope that he would be the first to drive her in a Grand Prix. Unhappily, this cannot be. Now, both my son Ricky and my second driver, Tony Gardner, have qualified for the Montaigne Grand Prix. So it is becoming a very difficult choice. However, one must be realistic. My son Ricky has not yet competed against the class of driver entered in the Montaigne Grand Prix. His opportunity will come someday soon, I'm sure. But the honor of driving the 156 in the Montaigne Grand Prix next Sunday, I have decided should go to Tony Gardner. He has represented Chirano Works in many fine races, and I'm confident that he is best qualified to drive the 156 on this occasion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the bar is open. You're all my guests.
Hi, Ricky.
Oh, excuse me, I'll just go and get one of those press handouts.
I guess I'm partly to blame for this, asking you to make that test run this morning. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault, Mr. Strait. I can't understand what happened to Tony today. If I didn't know him better, I'd think he did it on purpose.
You handled it very well. If you hadn't been a good driver, that could have been a rough one.
You were in the car. What happened?
I don't know. But I've got a hunch it was something beyond his control, Ricky, and I plan to check it out.
Is there anything I can do?
No, not right now, but I'll see you later, huh?
G. Gardner. Here he is. Gardner Anthony R. Began racing in 1946. Entered a number of minor national events driving his own car. Signed as works driver for Ferrari in '51. Competed in the United States at Watkins Glen, Sebring Grand Prix, where he was second. He won at Riverside in California. He raced in England for Cooper at Goodwood and Silverstone. Hey, this boy's been around. Injured in a road crash in February '61. He resumed racing as a works driver for Chirano in September '61. 4th at Monaco, 5th at Reims Grand Prix. He hasn't had a winner since he went to work for Chirano. Before that, his record's pretty good.
February '61 to September. It must have been a bad crash.
You were in Australia at the time, but I don't remember reading anything about it in the papers.
Well, it was a road accident. It didn't happen in a race. Maybe very few people knew about it.
Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting.
Well, of course not. Well, won't you come in, Mrs. Gardner? We were just reading your husband's biography.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Oh, I'll just go and send those cables off.
Right. Well, won't you sit down? What can I do for you?
There's something wrong with my husband. I need your help.
Why me?
I think you're the only one that can find out what's the matter with him.
I see. Well, would you like to tell me about it?
Well, ever since the day that Florenza was killed, Tony's been strange. He's hiding something, and I don't know what. Then this morning, after I heard about your accident, I knew it couldn't be a coincidence.
Do you think it has anything to do with his eyes, Mrs. Gardner?
I don't know. I don't think so. Tony wears corrective lenses in his goggles. He's nearsighted, but so do a lot of other drivers.
How bad was that accident last year?
He skidded on a wet road and turned over. He had a mild concussion and vertebrae, and his back was dislocated.
Took him a long time to recuperate. 7 months.
He was in traction for his back, and the doctors wanted him to rest. We loved the mountains, so we stayed.
Where were you?
Saint Etienne. The mailing clinic was nearby.
Who was the doctor?
No one special. There were several, all on the clinic staff. There was one, a Dr. Steilitz. He and Tony became great friends. His own clinic wasn't far away.
That wouldn't be Dr. Sigmund Steilitz, would it?
Yes, I believe it was.
I see. Well, look, Mrs. Gardner, why don't you go on back to the hotel, and there are a couple of phone calls I'd like to make. Then I'll get in touch with you.
Well, thank you. I hope I haven't bothered you unnecessarily.
No, not at all. I'll be in touch. Exchange operator, please. I want a long-distance call. The Rochambeau Clinic, Saint Etienne. Just putting in a call to Dr. Steilitz.
Dr. Steilitz, the neurologist?
Probably one of the greatest brain surgeons in the world. I should have guessed. Hello?
Rochambeau Clinic?
I'd like to speak to Dr. Steilitz, please.
I'm sorry, but Dr. Steilitz is not here.
Well, it's very important that I talk to him. Do you know where I can find him? This is Michael Straight, personal friend of the doctor's.
Dr. Steilitz is on holiday, Monsieur Straight, and he cannot be reached by telephone. He's on a fishing trip in the Alps.
Well, would it be possible to reach him there?
You could telegraph him care of the postmaster in Vauxhall. The chateau where he is staying is just outside the village.
I'm afraid that might take too long. But thank you for your help. Goodbye. He's in Vauxhall. That's 200 miles from here on the Swiss border. With these roads, that could take all night.
You're not going now, are you?
I've got to talk to Dr. Steilitz. If there is anything wrong with Tony Gardner, he's the only one who can stop him from racing on Sunday. And there isn't much time.
Can I talk to you for a moment?
Sure. Hey, Alfredo, why don't you go and get those distributors?
Si, signore.
I've been to see Mike Straight.
What for?
I've got a feeling that he doesn't think you should race tomorrow either.
Oh? What business is it of his?
He thinks that accident last year was more serious than anyone knows.
Look, there's nothing wrong with me, Kim. I told you that. Now lay off. Serrano's given me that car to race. I'm going to race it and I'm going to win. Then we'll talk.
Why don't you quit while you're ahead?
Well, that's just the problem. I'm not ahead. I never have been. All the time I've been with Serrano, I've been the second driver. Stila, Quarterman, Florenza, they were the number ones.
They're all dead, aren't they?
They're dead and I'm alive. And this is my one big chance to win a Grand Prix. I'm going to take it.
Okay, Tony, if that's the way you want it.
Well, that's the way I want it. Now, let me finish this tuning job, and I'll see you later at the hotel.
I won't be there.
What do you mean you won't be there?
I'm leaving you, Tony.
What's got into you? Just because I won't pass up a chance to make a lot of money, you want to leave? Look, after the Montaigne, we'll talk.
I know you better than that, Tony. It'll go on and on. You're always going to quit after the next race, but you never do. You'll quit when you're killed or crippled. But I don't want to be around for that. I think it's best if I go now.
What you tell me, Mr. Straight, is most disturbing. But you understand it would be unethical for me as a surgeon to discuss one of my patients with even a man as well known as yourself.
I understand that, Doctor. But Tony Gardner's been involved in 2 accidents in the last 48 hours. Tomorrow, he's entered in the Grand Prix.
He's driving as a professional again?
I thought you knew.
No, I didn't. I rarely leave my clinic. So many people need help.
Tony Gardner's going to need your help, Doctor, right now. He's past the age where drivers win many races. This is probably his last chance. If you don't stop him, he could very well kill himself trying to win that race tomorrow.
Tell me, Mr. Strait, how much do you know about Tony Gardner's medical history?
Well, just that he was involved in a minor accident about a year ago, fractured his skull.
It was much more than that. Cerebral concussion.
What are the effects, Doctor?
It may involve the optic chiasma. It is the nerve crossings bringing intense headaches. As with your friend Tony Gardner, there was severe intracranial hemorrhage in the region of the optic chiasma.
I see. Oh. Well, what I would really like to know, Doctor, just how would that affect Tony's sight?
Of course, I cannot quite remember the exact damage details of his particular case. But if the optic chiasm is damaged, diplopia occurs.
Diplopia? Double vision?
Yes. And if the speech center is involved, slurred speech, even speechlessness results.
Well, in Tony's case, that doesn't seem to have occurred.
For your information, Mr. Strait, an operation was performed on Gardner.
Successfully, Doctor?
There are varying degrees of success. All are conditioned by individual circumstances.
To what degree did he react to your treatment?
The pressure was relieved. In time, I'm convinced he'll recover completely.
How much time, Doctor?
A year, perhaps 2, provided, of course, he takes very good care of himself. No exertion whatsoever.
Doctor, it's only been 6 months since Tony was here. Tomorrow he's racing in a Grand Prix.
If a person suffering from Tony Gardner's condition forces himself to take up such pursuit as motor racing, then repeated hemorrhage of the optic chiasm may occur, causing total blindness.
I was afraid you might tell me that, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello? Hello, Mike, where are you?
I'm at a police station outside Saint-Etienne. Now, look, Maggie, I've got the information I want, and I'm on my way. But I want you to get a hold of Ricky Chirano. Tell him if he really meant what he said yesterday, now's his chance to prove it. Tell him to be dressed and at the pits before 2 tomorrow. And tell him not to say anything about this. I'll explain it when I get there. Right. See you later, Maggie.
So Chirano's son will drive after all?
I didn't say that.
One draws conclusions, monsieur. I read your Agatha Christie. Soon I shall apply as detective at the Prefecture at Monte Carlo.
Good luck. In the meantime, shall we just keep this to ourselves?
I am the soul of discretion, monsieur. Besides, who could I tell? There is only the telephone.
I suppose you wouldn't be opposed to a small donation to the Police Benevolent Fund.
Ça, c'est très gentil, monsieur. Merci, avec plaisir.
Hi, Mike. Tony. You're not doing the track till 2.
I know. They told me I could find you here. I've just come from Saint-Etienne, Tony. I drove all night.
Oh?
I spoke with Dr. Steinitz.
Well, not that it's any of your business, but I suppose he told you I shouldn't be driving.
That's right.
Would you mind telling me why you're taking such an interest in my personal affairs?
Just don't want to see you get killed. And a lot of other people along with you.
Quite sure it's not because you think Ricky Chirano would make a better story.
If that were true, I'd let you go ahead. Car crashes make great pictures, Tony.
What did Stalett say?
If you take it easy, stay off the track, there's a very good chance that within a year your eyesight would be perfectly normal.
That's for the birds. I'm going blind, and I know it.
Not if you take care of yourself.
Now, don't give me that con. I'll see it just a little while longer, and then powie, lights out.
That's not what the doctor says.
Yeah, well, doctors never tell you the whole story. They don't want to scare you. Listen, Mike, do me a favor. Just forget that you saw Stylitz for one afternoon. Let me have one last run around the circuit. Let me have one last chance of winning, and then I'll quit.
I can't. It's too great a risk.
Mike, I'm asking you, do this for me. I know that track like the back of my hand. I could drive it blindfolded. The doctors give me some drops. They'll last till the race is over.
What about the other drivers, Tony?
Mike, once I'm out in front, they can't get in my way. And that's where I'm going to be all the time.
Tony, I could go to the track officials, tell them everything I know. They'd drop the black flag on you before you got out of the pits. I'm not going to do it. This is a decision that you'll have to make for yourself. Now, you've got a warming up lap to do. You go ahead. But when you pull back on that grid in starting position, I think you'll know what to do.
10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to give time for the cars to be started, do a warming up lap, and arrive on the grid with still 5 minutes to go. Now we have reached the final stages of preparation for the Monte Grand Prix. The cars are almost ready to be pushed out onto the starting line to commence their warming up lap. The police are clearing the track of spectators and any unnecessary personnel. The soft plugs are being removed and hard plugs put into the racing engine. Now they're pulling them up, and the mechanics are all keyed up to see what their drivers can do with the cars and the effort that has been put into preparing them over many weeks and perhaps even many months. This is the climax of a tremendous period of effort, and particularly for the Toronto team. They are eagerly looking forward to the debut of their new 156.
May I join you?
Oh, of course. Excuse me. I'd be delighted.
Thank you.
Mrs. Strait is taking pictures?
Yes, he wanted to get some shots of Tony Gardner on the warming up lap.
Good. It'll be an exciting race.
Yes. It's a pity your son isn't driving.
Well, perhaps someday when he's had more experience.
Since they were last practicing, and to give one or two final checkovers to the various readings on the instruments to make sure that everything is going well. Line up on the starting grid, the mechanics quickly check underneath the hood so that there are no loose plug leads. There goes the 2 minutes to go signal. The tension is mounting. The mechanics are making their final adjustments.
Going back to the pits.
Oh?
Tony Gardner. Must have forgotten something.
Thank you. Oh, he's probably fixing his pit signals.
You learned a lot about racing, Miss McFarland.
Will any drivers not yet on the starting grid take up their positions immediately? There goes the 1 minute to go. The noise is deafening and the atmosphere is electric. Driver brings his flag. Less than 5 seconds to go. This is the moment of great excitement for everyone. Number 30 is sitting there on the fourth row of the grid. And the flag's down. And they sweep off to a fairly clean start. And a punching as they rush very quickly towards the end. Number 48. He must have stalled his engine on the line. And as the cars enter the first turn, they are jostling for position. The drivers will be noticing the extra weight of the full petrol tank. Which makes a quite different to those experienced in practice. There's a bunch of 4 or 5 cars up there in the lead. The Toronto number 2 is quite well placed in about 5th position. To be at this stage of the race. We're on lap 2 with the leading cars beginning to really turn on the circuit. Now the drivers will be starting to think out their race tactics, for it is very difficult to decide how to pace the race until a driver sees how to run the circuit.
Tony.
Mike was right. So were you. I'd have been crazy to go through with it.
Oh, well, who's out there then?
Ricky.
Geronimo comes into the pits with smoke pouring from the exhaust pipe. It suggests that he may have put a hole in the system. The remainder of the cars race on, and some move up an easy place. Tony Gardner seems to be maintaining his position quite happily. Blocking their drivers and watching closely.
If we can maintain that position for the next 5 laps, we have a good chance.
Are you afraid he won't?
No, Tony is too experienced to be tricked into any foolish mistakes now. He's well placed for a breakthrough, but any further back would be bad for us.
Van Halstein. He spun off and hit the grass bank. He's climbing out now. Oh, he's quite unhurt. But that car looks very much...
Something is wrong. I better go and see. Excuse me.
Yes, of course.
He's obviously very worried.
Can't understand the Toronto dropping back like this.
My head mechanic thinks it might be fuel injection trouble.
Here comes the Toronto again. It's now very much and it's going very much faster. He is out accelerating Simpson on the pit straight without any acceleration. Yes, it must have been I'm very pleased about this because tracing such trouble can be very difficult. And a pit stop going into a slow turn before the pits and has gone straight up the escape road. It doesn't look as if he can. It seems as if he misjudged the corner and put his brakes on. Well, that's more time lost for the Toronto. Gardner will really have to go if he's going to make up the lost time. Tony Gardner
can still make it.
disappointed to be so far down the track at this stage of the race.
I don't understand. What's happened?
Ricky's driving.
Why? Why?
I'm sorry, I couldn't make it.
This we have lost. It's too much to expect Ricky to make up.
With 15 laps to go, anything could happen.
I don't believe in miracles.
And in third place, young Ricky Toronto. Another incident. Going into the corner, trying to save the vital few tenths of a second. And that lets Ricky Toronto up into second place. This puts him in with a real chance. He's really motoring now. He must be laughing this circuit. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's broken the Atkinson's record.
$29.6, that's a record.
2 laps to go.
If Ricky can maintain this.
I'd worry about the car, not the driver.
This is a magnificent performance by somebody in his first World Championship race. It's fantastic. driving like a champion. The car has obviously got the heels of it together. It's always the driver who comes from behind that catches the imagination of the crowd.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
It's not over yet.
Hang on to him, Ricky. Hang on to him. Don't let him go now.
He's now almost alongside now. He's doing his best to get through on the inside.
Come on,
On the
Ricky.
corner. Has he done it? No, Mr. Brown is still in second place. He's still in second position, but he's trying all the way. Eric Conway's pulling on the inside and the outside of the leader on track. Make that extra little bit to get in front of him ahead.
We must pass him now. It's now or never.
Now. Do it now. Pass him.
He's won. My son has won the Grand Prix. I cannot believe it.
It's a great victory, Mr. Toronto, for you, Ricky, and Tony Gardner.
Maybe sometime you'll tell me what exactly happened.
Maybe.
Excuse me, I must see Ricky.
Grand Prix of all time. Ricky Toronto first, second Morrell, and John.
Is that what you want, Tony?
I've got what I want. Right here.